So when you say you're the toughest coach
Oh yeah.
that you're ever going to encounter, most coaches are empathetic. They're
I know.
hand holding. So what makes you
Yep.
tough? Why do you call yourself tough? Welcome back to our show, guys. This is In the House Podcast. I'm your co-host, Jenny Woon.
And I'm Tony Singh.
And we have a very, very, very special guest today from Ottawa, Ontario. She's the owner and CEO of Red Apple Coaching and Consulting. And she's done coaching for over the past 13 years and currently licensed with Remax Hallmark Realty. Welcome, Mary Ann Gillespie. How are you
Hey,
doing?
thanks for having me. I'm amazing. Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to help out one of my favorite podcasts and powerful women. So let's do this. Let's bring some great content.
Yes.
Amazing.
We have an icebreaker question for you.
Ooh, okay.
What is your spirit animal?
You know what? It's funny that you say that because I think my spirit animal is a tiger. I just ordered, I just literally did. I ordered a triathlon suit for triathlons, and on the back of it, I knew it was the right suit for me. They just came out with it, and it's this giant tiger on the back, and I was like, oh yeah. I'm like, that is me 100%. I mean, we know I don't want to be a cougar. But anyway, but yeah, I am definitely a tiger. I would say the tiger is, you can very cute at sometimes. They're like super cute and nice, but you know what? We can definitely hold our own. And you know what? As far as the tiger goes, we are fierce.
All right,
Very
tiger.
fierce.
All right.
Yeah.
And your resume and your accomplishments are nothing short of amazing certifications and accomplishments,
Thank you.
and you're doing the triathlon. I want to even talk about some of the hours you put into helping agents. And that's why we've brought you
Yeah.
on here, because a lot of our listeners are across North America, Canadian and in the US, wanting to learn more and be better at what they do. And so, but you've been doing it professionally. So I'm not
Long
gonna,
time.
yeah, I have this list of all the things that you're certified in: John Maxwell coaching, DISC certified coaching. But I'm gonna let you introduce yourself.
Sure. I love that. I think that's great. I don't like bragging about myself, but I'm going to do it. Why not?
Yeah,
You know what? If there's
this is
other
the
women out there,
platform.
we got to, yeah,
It's not,
we
You
got to
gotta
start
it's not
own it.
bragging.
You gotta
It's
own
not
it, Mary.
Own
bragging
it.
if it's the truth. It's not bragging
Exactly.
if
And
it's
you
the
can't call
truth.
yourself a tiger if you're going to act like a kitten, right? So, so
Like a
here's the
pussy.
thing is that, so I'm,
I
I
like it.
like all these animal metaphors today. Anyway, I think one of the things, about my career is that it spanned off as starting as a real estate agent and moving into coaching and then in business coaching. And yes, I have all those great certifications: John Maxwell, EQ, DISC, Walt Disney being one of my favorite certifications, just because I think how they run their company and organization is so fascinating.
I didn't
I've
even
built some
know
of the
that they
biggest.
had that.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
You got to check out their certifications, and their courses are
Wow.
unbelievable. You will never see business building quite at that level, and how they treat customers. It's fascinating. So it's a really incredible process. And so just in my background as being a very successful realtor and then merging into the coaching industry, I just saw a huge need for it. And so it just spiraled. I started coaching and then building offices and then building number one offices and highest productions and then systems and models. And
Mhm.
then Forbes magazine just came out of blue and approached me and was like, we love what you're doing. I was like, what?
Mhm.
And then just speaking on some of the top stages with Grant Cardone and
Mhm.
Arlene Dickinson and all those guys. So I'm known to be one of the toughest coaches in the industry, and that is definitely something that I love and I own. And it took a lot of years to own that and be confident with that. However, I stand up for our clients, and we have over 800 of them, and we have
Nice.
amazing team working with us, and we have 98% success rate and 97.8% retention. So
Wow.
those are two very
Wow.
rare statistics in the coaching world. So
Yes.
we're very proud of
It
them.
just rolled off your tongue. It very
Well,
proud
we
of
work
it.
hard at it, right? I'm like, and we work
Yeah.
hard at it, and it's one of those things where, like I said, it's hard to talk about yourself, but also at the same token, it's something that, you know what, you look back and you go, man, Like, I'm pretty proud. I'm especially proud of what we've done the last, since March of 2020. It's just been an amazing journey.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
when you say you're the toughest coach
Oh yeah.
that you're ever going to encounter, most coaches are empathetic. They're
I know.
hand-holding, compassionate. So what makes you
Yep.
tough? Why do you call yourself tough?
I think what makes me tough is my background. I came from nothing. I lost my family at a young age. I've been homeless. I've conquered a lot in my
Mhm.
life, in my personal life, and that's given me a very strong mindset to know that we're always going to have stuff that happens in our lives, and we're always going to have reasons for what holds us back. And you always have a choice, but our true capabilities of what you can do, you don't need a friend in coaching. You don't need someone to hold your hand. You have family, you have friends, you have partners who can do that for you. What you really need is you need somebody who sees truly at the beginning, where do you want to go, and what is your dream, and what is your vision, and are you 100% committed to it? And if you are, then you need a coach that's going to be able to know the difference between what is an excuse and what is truly holding you back, and giving you the strength and the courage and the support to break through it. And
Mhm.
breaking through it requires toughness. It requires a coach that's not going to sit back and say, let me hold your hand, because that's not going to work. Like, that won't work in coaching. What works in getting you to the levels that we get our clients, and our clients are growth clients. They're not clients that generally want to maintain where they are. They're clients who think big, they want to grow big, and they have these huge visions for change in the world. So
Mhm.
we want to get them to that point. And in order to get there, that's only the top 20%. So you've got to
Mm.
really, really, really push them at times, in a safe, comfortable way, not in a terrible way. However, we just don't stand for anything. We know what the excuses are, and we're willing to break through them with our clients. And that gives us a reputation of saying, you know what, we're very results driven, and we take what we do seriously. We can be
Mhm.
friends with you later. But as far as a coaching relationship goes, a real tough coach is one that you will never forget, because they usually got you to that really great next phase of your life.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Making you accountable. So you
have
have
to be.
800, you're responsible for, you're coaching
Ugh,
800 agents.
we
You
are.
can't possibly be doing this alone.
Not me.
So when someone
No, we have
signs,
other coaches.
right, when someone signs up, so how much time are they getting with you directly, or if at all? And how much
Yeah.
time are they getting with their team, with your
Yeah.
team?
So
Mhm.
we coach only the CEOs myself. I only coach the top 10%. I usually take on once a quarter, I'll take on one or two clients that have amazing potential, but not the production levels that I normally work with. And I'll talk to them and I'll take them on board and say, okay, like, if I see raw talent, there's nothing that excites me more than seeing somebody who is completely raw talent. One of my clients, Colton, amazing.
Mm.
I took him on 1 year ago, I think it was, and he was at, I think, about 130K, and now he, like, within 1 year, he's over 650ish, and like, that's just amazing. He's got a little team now, and he's like next phase, and he's thinking bigger, and he's living this amazing life and giving back, and it's just awesome to see. So every now and then, once a quarter, I'll take on a couple clients at that level, but predominantly, to be with me, you have to be a top producer, or you engage in one of our group coaching programs, in which case, that's like our game changer program we'll talk about later.
Mhm.
But that's getting me directly. So in a group environment, a hybrid coaching environment, that's where you'll get me, or one-on-one if you're the top 10%.
Mhm.
And you can start with one of our other coaches and work your way up to me. But you can imagine, it's kind of like if you're training for the Olympics, but you just started, let's say, swimming. You don't
Yeah.
want to get the Olympic coach, because you're not ready
Right.
for it yet.
Right.
Yeah.
It
That would
sounds
be very damaging.
no, no, yeah. I mean, it sounds like at 130, 150K sounds to many agents that that's already a level of success. So does a successful agent really need a coach? And
Yeah, I
so,
mean, every agent does.
yeah.
Every agent needs a coach, because entrepreneurial, like, every real estate agent is an entrepreneur. It doesn't matter what your production level is, really doesn't. And everybody chooses entrepreneurship because we wanted freedom. If we didn't want freedom, we would go into corporate, or you go into a 9 to 5 job. There are way easier paths to earn income than choosing to be a real estate agent. So it's a business. And in order to get that freedom, if you don't have a coach that can actually help you get that by, hiring the right way and doing it the right way, you know what? I truly believe everybody needs one, because you get to freedom faster. So whether your income is 60, 70, 80, whatever your income is, you need one so you can lay the foundation of getting to freedom.
Hmm.
Otherwise, all you're really doing in real estate is you will work. And then when you stop working, if you want to go on vacation with your family and you're going to not learn how to leverage, your income stops at that point. And that's not really fair to an agent, so you want to teach them and coach them how to build a business. And I think that, we don't get into real estate knowing how to build a business. So you can take courses, but to have a coach by your side,
Hmm.
it's proven 1,000 times over that it pays for itself. So it's an
Hmm.
investment.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Hmm.
And you've billed over 19,000 hours of coaching. What's
Yes.
your why? What's your why in all this?
My why is, there is a I don't know how to put it, but my why, and I've always struggled with why. It's not necessarily, it changes every year, but I think my biggest thing is seeing people who entered the industry when I entered the industry, and seeing that the failure rate is so significant.
Hmm.
And it's, 20% of the agents do 80% of the business, yet it's lonely for them. And
Hmm.
it's amazing to be able to go in and see all these, our clients, and the reason why, our why, all of our clients have a bigger purpose. They're not just focused on GCI, they're focused on changing things, really working with communities, making communities better, making, teams really like the best lives that they can have by
Yes.
showing them how to invest in real estate, or giving back, or opening charities, or doing foundations. Like, every client we have has a purpose, and I'm part of that. I get to see it. Not only
Yeah.
do I get to see people reach their dreams, and, seeing somebody, one of our clients, we ask them for their dreams at the very beginning of coaching with them. And we always ask them for that. I want 10 amazing dreams that could come true for them. And one of our clients had a dream. His family immigrated, and he had a dream of buying a house for his parents. They're renting a tiny little apartment in his city. And he's like, I would love to buy them a house. He's like, that's my dream. And then he's like, I don't have 9 others. He's like, that's my dream. And I want to work really hard. And I was so moved by that I was like, that's it. As a
Hmm.
coach, it has nothing to do with me. It was, we're going to do this. And we did it within 12 months. His parents, and like, he sent me the video, and he's like, look. And he's like screaming, and his parents are crying, and everybody's crying, and I'm crying, and I'm going, this is crazy. And I'm like, this is how, like, could I not have a better life than, like, to see everybody else do things like that? I mean, it's selfish in a way. I'm like, I'm so excited. I'm like,
Yeah.
that's amazing.
Yeah.
I love it.
So
Yeah,
nice.
I don't
I
think
love
we
it.
realize until maybe someone tells us how much impact we have by doing, by what you're doing and by what we're doing. And you were part of, you're the author of Resilient Real Estate Woman with Kim
Yeah.
Hayden. She was one of our guests a couple months ago.
Oh, I love her.
Yeah, it's same energy. Can you feel
Yeah,
that?
very, very,
Oh
very.
yeah,
I'm
yeah, yeah. And
inspired right
I'm
now.
not
It's
even.
great.
I'm giving you like half of what I got, and I'm like, yeah,
Sorry,
I just.
Marianne, I'm just sitting here right
Yes.
now silent because I'm just absorbing it all. So good.
You should see. It's like crazy, and it never stops. It's like, I remember somebody told me, they said, the older you get, it's gonna tone yourself down. I'm like, it's not stopping, and I'm
Yeah.
like, I just, like, I love it. I just want to, like, put it out to the universe. I love vibing good energy.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hmm.
No, no, you're a
Can feel it.
serial, call you like a serial achiever, overachiever. Yes. Um,
Overachiever. I like to think most ambitious businesswoman out there. I
yes.
love it.
Own it, girl.
Oh
Tell us about Girl Abundance, because obviously that's been an important part of developing,
yeah.
and incorporating into your organization.
Yeah, we're officially launching it this month, which has been an amazing process. I mean, we had to get everything trademarked and copywritten. It was like crazy. I didn't realize how hard that was. That's my passion project, and that's everything that I've done up until this point in my life is really just not like, I love everybody. I mean, there's nobody I don't love. But what I really saw coming from nothing is the lack of business support I got. And
Hmm.
one of the things I've seen in business, I don't know why, I can't quite figure it out, but it seems like business women, like men in business, have a lot of support with each other. They really do. They have this great support with each other, and they have camaraderie and they can compete. But there's something odd that isn't talked about quite a bit. Sheryl Sandberger, I think
Mhm.
that's her name, is she actually, she addressed it in her book, and she was talking about, how women don't really support other women. It's strange. It's strange. There's a tribe of us that are emerging, but it's a really different kind of vibe. And
Mm.
I started looking and saying, there are so many young women out there, and I've seen it and I've experienced it, that have dreams and they have visions, and they maybe don't have money for coaching, or they don't have good mentorship. So we're taking all the top business women in industries, and they're coming into my company in Girl Abundance, and we're actually created an amazing mentorship company. It's absolutely unbelievable, and it's absolutely fantastic. And we're going to build over 100 female owned businesses from people who have no support, or come from nothing, or they're single moms out there and they just don't have the ability to start the business without a lot of support. So we're going to help build 100 female Canadian
Oh,
owned
wow.
businesses
I
a year.
love it. So
Yeah, I'm so stoked.
inspiring.
Wow. That's
Yeah, I'm really excited about it. And you know what? There's no huge financial gain in it for any of us. We're just a group, and we want to grow, and every business that we develop, it's part of our agreement. They're gonna join our tribe, and they're gonna develop with us in the following year. So
And so
Mhm.
now talking about building up confidence and building up leaders, new leaders into this industry, let's talk about some takeaways for our listeners. And your leadership programs, your leadership seminars,
yes.
you often give leaders certain strategies on how to manage their team with rather than formulating like a to-do list, leaders should be influencing and communicating more effectively. So what are some like top 3 tools or tips you would offer to a leader to create like a great culture to reduce like turnover?
That is probably one of the most amazing questions. Is leadership. You nailed it. Leadership is influence, and influence is, are you doing what you say you're going to do? So when you bring somebody into your organization, the first thing you should always do is you should have an expectations agreement. That's it. Like, that's the number one thing.
Okay.
If you bring anybody into your organization, there should be a clear understanding of what are the expectations they have of you, and what are the expectations in writing that you have of them. This way, clarity is there, because then you have a standard. And that's one of the reasons why the retention on teams is so low, is because the expectations agreements don't happen. They join, and verbally they hear one thing, but then there's nothing in writing. So
Mhm.
having both parties say, okay, here's what I expect from you, here's what you expect from me. The second thing, most important about influence, is do what you say you're going to do as a leader. You got to do that. Like, you can't invite people to an organization and say it's going to go one direction, and then it's going a different direction, and you're not lead generating with them, or you're letting them, and you're saying you do the work and I'm not going to do it. Like, there's a cross there. You have Influence is only attained from a leader if you do what you say you're going to do.
Of
You
course.
lead. That's
Of
the whole
course.
thing. You can't delegate. There's no such thing as influence by delegation. It doesn't happen that way. So that's the second thing. And then the third thing is you have to literally know the dreams of every single person on your team. That's your role as a leader. It's servant leadership. It's about sitting down and just doing what I said to do. Is I'm like, 10 things, when somebody joins your team, or every year, don't worry about the why. Just say, what do you want? Like, what
Right.
are 10 things that would make this year so unbelievable for you? And it could be getting out of debt. It could be vacationing more. It could be buying investment property. It could be, starting a philanthropy project. It could be anything. Yeah, we're going to work hard, and we're going to generate, and we're going to build the business, but I need to know what's going to make you really happy. And those 10 things, you get your people in your organization those 10 things every year, and you sit down and you go, by the way, here's the sheet. Everything you wanted this year came true.
Right.
Tell me how you're not going to have great retention if you actually care. And it's
Yeah.
amazing how many times that I'll talk to a team leader, and we'll coach them, and I'll say, okay, can you tell me, you have 3 agents on your team, give me a little bit of a background. What are the most important things in their personal lives that they want to accomplish this year, business or personal, but not GCI related? And this blank stare comes across the face, and they're like, I don't really know. And I'm like, okay, then are you really getting to know what matters to the people in your team, and are you helping them get there? Because
Yeah.
that's what they want.
Yeah, identifying the success plan and checking in constantly because
Absolutely.
it looks different for every team member.
It always does.
Yeah.
And your dreams are different than mine. And then they're going to change next year. And, I mean, one team member came to me, well, he's CEO, and he came to me and he was like, he said he was uncomfortable. And he came to me after the process and he says, "Can I talk to you?" I said, "Yeah." He goes, "I had no idea that one of my team members was getting in vitro and was like stressed out because they couldn't have kids." And he's like, and they broke down and just said, "This is the most important thing." And I said, "And what are you going to do about it?" He says, "Well, now that it's all out there," he's like, "I understand how much it costs. I'm going to get their schedule for in vitro. I'm going to give them a week off after and before." And he's like, "I'm just going to like whatever I can do to like take the load off during those important times and really, get the person excited about it." And it was just knowing it and connecting with your team member. And when she
Hmm.
did get pregnant, which she did, when she did get pregnant, it was like such an awesome experience. And she felt like the whole team, she shared something so personal that she probably would have kept personal had that conversation not happened for a long time. And she just feels like a rock star. It's
Would
really
you
awesome.
would you agree that it's really difficult for like a single agent to, and they're great at what they do as a salesperson, but it's really hard for them to shift as a leader, like knowing what they need to do to manage their team?
100%. I mean, it's so hard. It's hard to build the team. It's hard to hire. It's hard to be a leader. We get into sales because we know we love houses and we love people, but that's a whole different ballgame to become a great leader. So, and
Mhm.
if you don't invest in that growth to become a better leader, you're going to learn by trial and error. And that's really painful, like
Hmm.
really painful. So it's better to just go immerse yourself. I mean, as a John Maxwell coach as well, I always suggest, I'm just like, he has the best leadership books around. And you just have to immerse yourself into that because, yeah, it's about growth. It's personal growth. You have to invest in that for sure.
Part of your service, though, you do offer consultations on how to hire, correct?
Absolutely. I mean, everything that we do, like how to hire and, that alone is, also bringing people into your family. Like this is your income, this is your business, this is your baby. So it's like you're not going to nail it and be perfect, but you really should get some help and get second opinions or again, you're going to learn the hard way, right?
To touch base on a little bit about the disc, because
Mhm.
one thing I find is that you can do the disc on yourself, and then you have a better understanding of how you're going to lead or manage people. But I think that the biggest mistake is that not doing the disc or any other personality testing or strengths testing on your teammates so that you know what would help them learn better or succeed better.
There's tons. I mean, if it's a lot of fun to understand your own personal disc, but if you can get to the point right where you can hire a disc coach anywhere, you can do it virtually, you can do it, anywhere, and that's all they do is they come in, excuse me, they come in and they do an exercise because it's great to know your own disc,
Mhm.
but they get everybody together and then you learn about their disc, and that's the key is that we all know what we are. We live with ourselves our whole lives, but to really understand how this team member works or that team member, it solves 80% of the issues on a team about
Mm.
team camaraderie, how it works together. It's the easiest, cheapest investment you can make into your organization is to do disc with the
Mhm.
whole entire organization. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, this is a good segue into our next question, which is hiring someone, a part-time assistant,
Mhm.
or
Yeah.
even there's nowadays virtual assistant. It's not new, but there's always that question of should I hire somebody more full-time, or
Yep.
part-time that's maybe local and sitting in your office, or somebody who's virtual. Maybe they're maybe more cost effective. So this conversation has come up numerous times, especially in my mastermind group.
Oh
Why do
yeah.
you think? Number one, why do you think agents are so reluctant to hire administration team? But also, what are some things that they should be considering?
Great question. I mean, it is the hottest topic. Here's the first rule of thumb. I always say take 10% to 12%. 10 to 12% of your fixed GCI should be for fixed costs. So if you're making 100,000, that means you have about 10 to 12,000 in to budget into hiring help.
Okay.
It's an investment into your company. However you do it, I would never suggest over 12%. That's just not reasonable. So that's your budget. So if
Okay.
you've got it, that's what you can hire. The biggest reason why agents, to answer your first question, why agents don't think about it, they're making for the first time ever, they're making enough money where they feel like they can hire somebody, and then they go, I gotta now go backwards and give, like, let's say 40, 50,000,
Mhm.
maybe at minimum, to hire somebody. So it's the idea of spending money and reinvesting into the business that those agents that are hiring their first assistant, that's what they struggle with. They
Mm.
don't understand the concept that in order to grow to the next level, you need leverage, and that's investing back into your business. So we usually say your first 2 to 3 years of real estate, or even if you're 5 years in real estate and you've decided to go next level, 2 to 3 years of reinvesting back into your business in hires and systems and models is the right thing to do. What they're also not seeing is that you are the assistant until you have an assistant. Yeah, it makes no sense. It's like, if I can go out and list a house and make $15,000, why would I want to push papers when I can hire somebody to do it for $25 an
Mhm.
hour? It's such a ridiculous exchange, and when you see it, you get it, and then that's a little less overwhelming. And it's even less overwhelming to say, look, you're not paying for a whole year up front. If it doesn't work out with the person in 30 days, you're wasting a few $1,000s, and
Mhm.
that's all you're doing. So test it out and see. And I would say, my advice on the three different areas is a virtual assistant is there to do tasks. So if you hire a VA, it's there for task oriented purposes. It's really just putting a band aid on things, and it's there for overflow. It's just a band aid. Where you're going to go with it, it's not going to be, that's not an official team member. It's a
Mhm.
VA. That's what they're there for. So it's great if if you're in the interim and you need to fix a database, or you need somebody to arrange marketing stuff, that's all okay. But having somebody who is a permanent assistant for you, that's really important. Like Morgan is in Toronto. My personal assistant is in Toronto, which is 4 hours away from me.
Mhm.
It works out great, but we're very much in communication every day. We have Zoom calls every day. We're on the phone, texting, talking. So we're okay with that. But a physical assistant is awesome. So I
Mm.
would kind of, I would say that's a person you want to really have somebody who can build your systems and models. And that's really hard also. If they're virtual, they can't vibe on your energy. They
It's
don't know
really
your energy.
important.
So it's like, someone like me having somebody virtual is hard if they don't know my energy, and my energy
Mhm.
is extreme. So how are they supposed to help me? How are they supposed to help me if they're quiet and I'm over here and they're over there? Morgan, like I said, we're in touch every day, so it's quite crystal clear. But I think in general, it's just that's where I would go with the assistant portion, and never be afraid of spending.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
just, they will get you to that next level. You cannot be afraid of spending.
Morgan's great. She's been, just
She's
following up
awesome.
with us and ensuring that,
She's good.
yeah, that you're prepared.
She's good, man. She's good.
Yeah, even though you guys are far, like quite far. She's in Toronto, you're in Ottawa. I feel like she's like on the ball with everything with your schedules. So.
She's same time zone, but she's also like, I'm a 45-minute plane ride away. And so I'm conscious about going there and hanging out with her and
Mhm.
getting that done. We have a
Right.
lot of mutual friends, actually, so that's interesting. So that's how we came about.
Mm.
And then also on the flip side with Morgan as well, she's remarkably talented. So Ottawa is very different for hiring. And small towns might be the same, but Ottawa is a high government town. So this is where the prime minister lives. This is a political town. So what ends up happening is 90% of the people in our city want to work for the government.
Right.
As an entrepreneur, this is not the best city to hire people. But Toronto is a megapolis of the most talented people I've ever seen. So of course I'm going to go to Toronto and hire somebody there. Is way smarter idea, because locally I'm not going to have the same talent pool.
Yeah, no,
Interesting.
that's really interesting that that the demographics or like the income level or the type of jobs where you live will affect your hiring process, which is something that I never thought about. Yeah,
Yeah.
if you're having that type of conversation, just even hiring a virtual assistant that's out of the country, that is, not to s- segment it into like a certain
Area?
nationality, but
I know.
sometimes they just don't know English. Like English is not their first language.
No, we,
Mhm.
we have a VA we have VA, a company that we use as well. And they are amazing for what they do. And what they do is they go through our websites, they upload info, they do every single thing. Like Morgan is expensive. She is a very high level hire. And so I don't want her doing anything
Mm,
that is under $20 an hour. So our VA company does all of that for us. They clean up the Google Drive, they send out different things. Like they're in there fixing everything, and
Right.
it's such a great partnership. It's like her
Mm-hmm.
little team. It's
Oh,
awesome.
wow. Okay.
Yeah.
So let's just say you are a new realtor and and especially right now, your database is probably running dry. It's difficult to
Hmm.
add more clients into the pipeline because social gatherings are limited. You can't really door knock. These type of being able to meet new people are far and fewer in between. So, what can agents do right now to add to their database? What are some creative ways to approach this?
I would say online dating. No, I'm only
Yeah.
kidding. I'm only kidding. I'm only kidding. Okay, I really do have a client that does online dating, and he's so proud of himself because he's like, I had another 3 people in my database this week, and I got a listing lead, and I'm like, oh my gosh.
So
Oh my.
So
you're
this
a relationship coach too.
yeah, I was like, that's great. I'm like, I didn't even think Tinder would be a hidden database stream. Anyway, it was super, super cute. I would say, you know what? You have to lean in into where everybody is. Like right now, everybody is on social media. They all are. And I mean, so how you taking that to a whole different level. So Facebook group sites have never had so much engagement right now. And that's even community sites because the community isn't out. They're not out talking to each other. So, like, not as much. So, the Facebook community sites are huge right now. Really getting on those and getting engaged and helping out and finding out what people want on social media. Like, you're crazy if you don't build a social
Mm-hmm.
media database. That's a whole separate entity right now
Mm-hmm.
that really needs to be leaned in on because A, it's not going away. And B, you've got the attention. I mean, despite everything going on, the only thing that was a high level of engagement throughout all of the last year and a half has been the elevation of social media. So leaning into it and going, what can I do on social media that's going to get me to meet people, i.e., hosting events on social media, either providing content that maybe is a little outside of the box instead of the humdrum stuff that we see right now,
Mm-hmm.
really bringing it in, designing different things on social media that are great, engaging by messenger, really getting into the meat and potatoes of being more creative on social media. So that's like a really, really important thing. And even things like, for example, we had clients, and so I came up with this idea about doing a drive-in. So a lot of cities had pop-up drive-ins over the
Yeah.
last 2 summers. So I said to our client, I said, because the client was going, how do I get more people into my database? And I was like, well, I mean, you can do a few different things. So, why don't you go to the local drive-in, the pop-up drive-in, do it or create a pop-up drive-in, sponsor it, have it there. And I said, and then what you can do is everybody gets like, let's say a chocolate bar or, whatever drink when they come in, whatever the case is,
Mm-hmm.
use a QR code to enter a draw when they get in. I said, and do this
Mm-hmm.
grand, like be the sponsor, give out tickets to your database, and then be the sponsor there, give out a chocolate bar and a popcorn, and then say, we're going to have this huge gift basket that was donated by all their service providers. And I said, use a QR code. Then you get everybody's contact information. You're there welcoming every car that comes in, which isn't very hard. It's
Mm-hmm.
actually really easy. And I said, you're introducing yourself as the sponsor of the night. And the realtor did that, and they packed in over 300 new names to their database in one evening.
Wow. Yeah.
And
Great.
so it was amazing.
I
And it was
love that
in their
idea.
Such
area.
a good
I
It
idea.
was,
love that
thank
idea.
you. So I'm very outside of the box. So that was one thing that we came up with. We did a beaver tail with another client of mine. We did this beaver tail. He went to do the beaver tail food trucks, and he brought a beaver tail food truck, and he basically dropped off postcards into everybody's mailbox and posted it on a community site in the area. And he was like, I'm going to be doing beaver tails for the community. I'm a local realtor. I want to meet all you guys because you're my area and I want to collect your info. And he was honest. I want to collect
Mm-hmm.
your info. I want to do this, blah, blah, blah. And he says, so if you want to beaver tail, I'm going to be here on this date. Here's the QR code on the website. Just tell me how many you want and come and introduce yourself.
Hmm.
280 people, 6 listings.
Good return.
Pretty
Mm-hmm.
impressive.
Definitely good
Excellent.
return. Wow, these are
Yep.
such good, like out of the box ideas.
They are out of the box. They're way out of the box, but they
Yeah.
work. And it's like, it's all about, you can sit on social media and you can be like, you can do a random post or you can do a webinar that gets maybe 5, 10 people, or you can think really big and look at the circumstance we have. So in my community, I don't have kids, but we have a skating rink, a small one that gets built. So what I did was I was like, okay, I'll volunteer to be on the small committee to build it. But I went to the local Tim Hortons and I was like, okay, here's what I'm going to do. So I get this big gift box thing done up. Everybody likes Tim Hortons gift bags. And I created a Tim Hortons skating night. And you can still do it with
Mm,
social distancing and all the rules.
of
You have
course.
to have times and follow the rules. But you just say, hey, listen, guys, if I want to we're going to have a Tim Hortons night, and you just segment it and be like, okay, we're going to have like Pee-wees come up at this night. So register your kids here and let's do it. And I'm involved in the community and it's great. And I built it up by, I think, 120 people into my database and it cost me almost nothing. It was amazing.
Fantastic.
Yep.
These are such great tips and such great ideas. I can't imagine how effective and exciting your programs are. So let's chat
Yeah.
about some of the three programs that you offer. What I saw on your website is the Game Changer program, which you
Yes.
created last year. So how is that structured? And tell us what that is all about.
It's exciting. So that's our newest. So I saw like a huge need. Like I had all these people who wanted to coach with me, and then my schedule is so packed, and I only work with a certain level. So I thought, you know what? Where's coaching going? And I was like, where is this really going? One-on-one coaching is great. How do we scale this even bigger and really give back? And what do realtors really need? I mean, I have the experience. What do they need? So we created Game Changer. And I came up with the concept, and I said, what would it look like if you had three of the best coaches, the best accountability coach, the best business coach, and the best admin coach? What would that look like? So I created Game Changer, which is unbelievable. And that's a hybrid coaching program where you get all three of us and we literally work with you over an 8-week period where we pour into you. So you get massive movement in your business and you get massive skills. And it's just the most amazing coaching program I've ever created. And I love it. And that always sells out. So that's been amazing. And now we have Game Changer Accountability Coaching, which is hybrid coaching, and it's
Mm.
only for realtors who are interested in massive accountability. We sold out like instantly. We're already booking into October, and it's crazy. And that's 100% accountability. Those are for those agents who are like, I'll build my business, but what's most important now is I need the habits. I need accountability. I need a small group of peers to mastermind with, and I need a lot of support to get through how hard it's going to be in the fourth quarter. So we call it Game Changer because that's what it is we're literally, it's all about programs, coaching programs that will change your game.
That's
That's
amazing.
very fitting.
I know.
Manga.
The program that you're talking about right now, in terms of who it's best suited for, just repeat. Currently,
Yeah.
lead generators, they want more accountability, like you said, those mastermind programs. Would you say that it's somebody that would be new in real estate or somebody that's looking to just
Mm.
revamp their career? Maybe they've been in the business for 30 to 40 years, and there's a lot of old timers that still want to rejuvenate their business in a fun and fresh way. Um,
Yeah.
what are your thoughts on that?
We basically opened up registration, and we had a commitment for our groups starting in September, which we're full. So we had in September, what we did is we opened it up and we said, we're going to commit to no less than 5, no more than 10 people in each of these groups. And then what we did is we got all the registrations came in and we did an analysis on each person.
Mm.
And we
Hmm.
looked at them and we created the groups based on their level of experience, their level of what they want to commit to, where they need the most help, and it's amazing. So it's for everybody. So
Yes.
if you're newer, you're
Mhm.
going to be with a group of like-minded people. And if you're, let's say a really, a heritage Asian, and you're like, yeah, you know what, I'm not ready to hang it up yet. You're going to be with more experienced agents that are ready to do that. That will complement where you are, and it's a beautiful marriage. So it's probably about 3 or 4 levels because I believe the hybrid coaching needs to go based on your goals, yes, but it
Hmm.
needs to, I don't want to be at my level in a group with somebody who's just starting,
I love how it's so
so
inclusive of everybody,
yes.
which is so
Yeah.
great. Like, everybody's successful. What's the
Yep.
time commitment then, kind of, and time commitment for the program and the full length of the program?
So the length of the program is ongoing. So we actually, everybody who starts it is in for a year. They're all in for a year because what we wanted to do is we want the peer support. We want this group to be a group. We wanted groups that would just be in business with each other and get that support and be like, there is such a lack of being able to pick up a phone. Like I mastermind, you just said you masterminded before
Hmm.
this. And when you mastermind, there is this feeling of like I can't describe it. It's this feeling where you feel like, oh man, my ideas were supported. I feel like I've got a lot of support. Other
Mm-hmm.
people are going through what I'm going through, which gives strength and it gives courage
Mm-hmm.
and it really engages the brain in an area of being able to build these crazy big ideas and feel good about it. And then you get to go back to the group and be like, they're supporting you and you're getting high fives. That's never happened really in real estate. It happens in our own masterminds, but it's never been introduced into the coaching world. So
Yes.
I wanted to bring it into real estate coaching. So, and you should see everybody. They're like already, they're going like, are the groups have just started meeting each other because we're starting everything now. And the groups are like, yeah, like they're texting each other, like, we're going to crush this. And it's like, oh my gosh. I'm like, I get goosebumps. I'm like, it's like seeing something that I knew was missing in real estate. And I was like, yes, we're going there. And I'm like, so I think you'll see. I like to say why I like doing podcasts is say we got it on record. We trailblazed it. A year from now, I guarantee you're going to see more and more programs like this. And I feel really good about it. It's going to be awesome.
That in itself just sounds so
Mm-hmm.
inspiring and energetic and building on everybody's successes. So, I mean, we both have our own masterminds anyhow, right?
Yeah.
Before it was more common,
But it
I
lights
think,
up
in the
fires.
industry.
Like this lights up a fire under
Exactly. This
us.
sounds,
Oh,
I
it
love how you do it with the
does.
coaching.
We're on Zoom 1 hour a week with each other. And then what we have is we have a whole online. So we create this entire online internet system where each group has a portal. We're all in it. We
Mm-hmm.
communicate. We have homework every week. Like this is
Mm.
accountability. Everybody who knows me knows. The tough part of me, that's not leaving the building. This is serious. So every week we have to report all of our numbers. We are committed to hitting our targets and we have those bigger visions. And we start off exactly what I said at the beginning. We start off with knowing what every person in the mastermind shares, what their dreams are, what they want to accomplish, what this next 12 months has to look for them. And we're all on board with it. So I would say it's probably coaching wise, and we script together. So scripting's
Mm-hmm.
included. So we do scripting calls once a week as a group. We're coaching 1 hour a week as a group. We're doing our homework every Friday. It has to automatically be submitted in. We have guest speakers that come in all the time. So we have a prearranged. So our next guest speaker for our first groups is an amazing Facebook marketing expert that's coming in. I hire them and I bring them in and they teach and coach on something, a skill related thing. It's
Mm-hmm.
every month. So the commitment is very big, but
Yes.
the need for that is going to be amazing.
So I
Yeah.
love that you guys do weekly homework. What
Yeah.
happens? I mean, I would imagine then with all this energy, it's unlikely someone wouldn't complete the homework. However, what happens if someone doesn't complete the homework that week? Do they get shunt out of the group or how does that
Marianne's
work?
knocking on your door.
I'm just
Yeah.
curious.
Yeah. I show up like I'm
Yeah,
like there. I'm like,
Why didn't you do
whoa,
it's like
it?
your voice
with
is
the
right
mask on.
there. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. No, what ends up happening is, and this is a really good philosophy for coaching, is that if it was only up to me, I would kick them out after one strike. However, it's not up to me. So what we do when we start is we have an agreement as a group and we have a covenant as a group that says, look, this is so important to all of us. And we share our dreams. And I say, okay, what do we want to do here? If you don't hand in your homework after 1 week, it's a group decision. What do we want to do? And we make that decision from the get-go. And unless we have all united, some groups have said one strike, you're out. And
Mm-hmm.
that's a tough group, but that is a
That's
united
okay.
decision.
Hmm.
Yeah, that's a
I like
united
that.
decision. So I have to respect what the group says and we honor it. Like if that happens, the person's kicked out. On the flip side, some groups have done a 2 strikes and you're out. Some groups have a donation to a charity, a very hefty donation of $500 they came up with. They're like, you owe $500 otherwise.
Hmm.
So like some groups have different things and we just respect whatever it is as a covenant and it's a group decision.
On the other end of the scale, when they are fully disciplined and focused, what kind of results can one expect out of this?
See, the thing with coaching is accountability is the biggest thing. That's it. If you hire, I mean, for years, I had personal trainers and we talk about this all the time. It's like, I wasn't losing any weight. I wasn't getting in any better shape. True results come from being held accountable to what you say you're going to do. If you say you're going to do XYZ, you're
Mm-hmm.
going to get the results.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm an Iron Man. I do exactly what my coaches tell me to do. So I literally do all that. So I get the results. If I give half the effort, I'm going to get half the results.
Yeah.
Most people who statistically enter coaching can see up to 80% change in their business results. That's a lot.
Well,
That's
Hmm.
huge.
that's very big. And speaking of that, are you able to share a success story maybe about one of your clients that signed up for your program specifically?
So the game changer accountability is brand new, but we can use the game changer in itself. And going into the actual game changer program that I talked about a couple minutes ago, I mean, I have a lot of coaching stories that I can tell you that would, like, we work with the best in the industry, so we have some great results on that one. But I would say in the game changer program, one of the best results that I saw was from a brand new agent that had never had any experience doing anything. And that agent went from literally, I think they were like $20,000 is what they had earned from GCI, which by the way is not bad. Okay, I mean it's a start. Okay, it's a
Hmm.
start. So anyway, they went from $20,000, and right now, which is less than, they did 8 weeks of Game Changer, and in that 8 weeks, they had 9 listing appointments. They ended up doing 6 contracts, and they're already over $250,000 of GCI. They're still getting the results from the foundation that we built.
Awesome.
Amazing.
That's great.
That's insane. Like, that's insane. That's a hard worker. That's a very hard worker. But I would say most of our clients see, on average, we run the statistics. Most of our clients, doesn't matter what production they level are, they can see a 50% jump in their business
Mm,
annually from us.
great numbers. So
Hmm.
how does one
Yeah.
get started, and how much is this investment going to cost someone?
It's funny. I was thinking the other day, I said, wouldn't it be a cool coaching model if I made a percentage of everybody's growth? That would be
Yep.
amazing. Man, that would be good. So I know it's crazy. I'm like, oh my gosh. So for our game changer program, it's usually only like our group programs are usually never over $800 a month.
Hmm.
And that's Canadian.
Yes.
Hmm.
So for what you get is unbelievable. So for our game changer group accountability, it's going to be $800 because it's our inaugural launch. So we're keeping that accountability program at $800 per month only for 2021. In 2022, I think based on what we're seeing so soon, we're going to see a jump in that. But for now, we want to load it up with value and make it that good. And then the
Hmm.
same thing with our Game Changer 8 week program. It's under the $800 range, which is unbelievable. I believe in adding a lot of value. That's another thing with coaching that kind of always got me is, you know what? It's the value that you get sometimes is kind of fluffy. So I've always been of the philosophy, even in one-on-one coaching, to be like, let's load these guys up with like insane value.
Hmm.
And that's why our retention's so high. We just
Hmm.
keep giving back. They need something, we give it. We bring in the guest speakers, we do cool stuff. So it's
Yeah.
kind of fun.
Yeah. And
Hmm.
when you're talking about hybrid, there's a bit of business planning, there's a bit of scripting as well. And so you're incorporating really a good wide range of different ways to absorb this information.
Like, there's video libraries and there's a portal. I think, what I've noticed in coaching, one-on-one coaching or the coaching industry in general, is you have a lot of cookie cutter stuff.
Hmm.
And that just doesn't work. And it's like, you need outside of the box. And when we talk about hybrid, what I really mean is you have to stop looking at real estate coaching as one size fits all. Like, let's
Hmm.
run the referral program and it doesn't change for anybody. Well, my
Right.
clientele versus another clientele or a millennial might be more texting. So how are you going to really have one size fits all if a millennial is into texting, and a heritage agent might be more about picking up a phone? And then you
Right.
may have an introvert versus an extrovert. You just can't always operate coaching programs as one size fits all. Enter this program and nothing changes. So by hybrid, we mean
Mm.
we're going to like just really work with who you are in these programs, instead of making you do the same as everybody else and expecting you to love it. We want you to love it. You should have a love affair with your business. It's what it should be.
That's so
Like,
good.
that's what it's got to be.
Well,
Mhm.
exactly.
Hmm.
I don't think I've
Yeah.
ever had a day where I said I don't like my job. Like I
Then you're
don't
in the
like what
right
I work.
business,
Yeah.
doing the right things.
These
Mhm.
are such great information. And before we wrap up to how our listeners will find you, do you have time for 5 rapid fire questions?
Oh yeah.
All
I'm
right.
terrible at these, but I'm like excited because you didn't tell me what they would be, so I'm
No,
like
I.
nervous.
I
All
think
right.
she's going to answer right away.
Okay,
She'll
you
be
go.
very
Go.
quick. Okay.
Okay.
What is your current read?
I am reading Alter Ego Effect.
Alter ego. Who's the author?
I think his name is Charles something, and it's
Okay.
about. Okay, you got to read this. I know this is rapid, but I'm gonna just say it is the cool. It is literally the coolest book because creating like Beyonce. So Beyonce created Sasha Fierce, right?
Mm-hmm.
So she's an introvert. She's shy. She's not like this big, larger than life, sexy woman. She's actually quite different in her personal life. So she created Sasha Fierce so when she goes on stage, she could be that person because she knew that that's what she didn't have, but that's what it would take to get her where she wanted to get to in her business. And so it's the exact same concept about that person who knows they have it in them, but then they don't have that character, so they create an alter ego that shows up until they become that person. It's unbelievable
That's
theory. It's
interesting.
great.
I've never read
I'm
it.
gonna,
Yeah,
yeah, I'm
cool
gonna
book.
replace one of our questions with
I
who's
love it.
your alter ego?
Yeah, that's
You're gonna laugh, but honestly, my alter ego. Have you ever watched The Muppets?
Yeah,
kind of.
yeah.
Okay, you know that like animal that hits like the drums all the time. It's like
Oh.
yeah, yeah, like it's like that's my alter ego. I'm just like, I'm sorry, but I'm like, honestly, I get out there and I'm like, I wake up in the morning at 4:30 in the morning and I go for a swim or I go for a run and I'm just like, man, I just look at that little animal and he's just like, he's wild and he's crazy and he's like, listen, man, he's having fun. He's beating the drums and he's just doing his own thing and he's like, I'm just loving it and he doesn't care. And I think for me, along a lot of my life, I held back quite a bit because I was so scared of what people thought of me. An animal is crazy. He doesn't care. He's got crazy hair. Doesn't care what he looks like. Doesn't care what he beats on his drum. He just is him. He is like so authentic to his crazy self that I was like,
Totally suitable. I
I
mean,
think so too.
totally out of what I would have thought you would have said, but yeah, that's so suiting. What's one
is.
advice given to you that completely changed your life?
I will never forget. I was going on stage with Grant Cardone, and I always ask. I ask every person I speak with, and it kind of relates to what we just talked about. I ask every person that I speak with, or anybody that I meet that has really great success, and I say, what is the one lesson that you could give me? That you've learned and that's changed your life. So it's the same question. And he said something to me that really, it was easy. He just said, Marianne, he goes, I stopped caring what everybody else thought. He says, I held on to it for 50 years. He said, for 50 years, he goes, I really was worried, what I'd say, what I'd do, would I fail? And he's like, I realized at the end of the day, it doesn't matter. Nothing matters. Like, just do it. Like, just do it. And if you fail, love it. And I really think that holds so many people back is they're so held back. And myself personally, I held back for a long time, really not owning and being afraid, just being like, man, like, waking up and not putting myself out there and not, just really understanding as a strong female, how many times people say you're too strong or, for people who are not as strong as I am, that really doesn't sit well with them. So it's one of those things where I was so worried that I would be different. And I know I'm different. And now instead of worrying about how different I am, I'm like, I love it. I'm so grateful that I'm different. I'm like, yes, I'm different.
Well, that's why you're achieving all these results in all of these realms.
Yeah, it is.
Who is your biggest inspiration and why?
I'm going to say that my biggest inspiration over the last since March of 2020 has been parents, and especially moms, moms in the industries of any industry. Really, I've never seen what moms and single moms have had to go through in the past year and a half. And that's not to discredit men in any capacity, but my biggest inspiration to keep me going since COVID started has been seeing what parents have had to do, what moms have had to do, what business women have had to do, because let's say they own businesses and then they had to take steps back because they had to do childcare or homeschooling and things like that. I've just never seen, like, it's not somebody famous. It's real people who were dealt cards that they never expected to get. And they had to make really hard decisions and they never quit. Those, like, I got goosebumps from my toes to my head right now, just thinking the stories that I encountered and the people that I met along the way. And every small business owner since March has just been my hero, and my heart goes to them, and they've kept me going. So they are my inspiration.
You've shared a lot of, final question, you shared the stage with a lot of great motivational speakers, Grant Cardone,
Yeah.
Ryan Serhant, Arlene Dickinson, and many, many more. Which one is your most memorable experience and why?
I'm going to say that the most memorable one, okay, and this is going to sound terrible, but I'm going to say it was Grant Cardone. And I'm going to say why it was Grant Cardone is because when I stood on stage, I was leading in. I was right before him. So I opened for him. I was like, that's like a terrible nightmare for me. I'm like, ah. And you've got this, like, if you know him, he's like this larger than life, crazy, guy and all this kind of stuff. And when I got on stage, like, I owned it. I owned that. And when I looked, and I was like, the most memorable experience doesn't always have to be the most positive experience. But I remember standing on that stage, and I remember looking at the audience. And then afterwards, I had so many people come to me, and they were like, I just want to tell you something. You blew him out of the water. They're like, he was great. They're like, but man, you literally blew him out of the water. They're like, what you've been through and where you went and what you've done. And then, that experience was just unbelievable for me, because it really made me realize that, that as a female in business, you don't see a lot of strong women on stages. You just don't. You never, and you don't see an audience full of men come up to you afterwards and say, you rocked my world. Like, that was insane. And I had somebody come up to me afterwards, and they were in tears, because I had buried my mom when I was younger. And I had said something on stage, and I said, when you go through a loss of a mom, I said, you can look at it two ways. You can look at my life and my experiences, and you can say, you know what, poor me. Or you can look at it and say, you know what, you did it. Like, there's positive. I had a mom for a lot of my life, up to a teenager, who taught me such amazing things. And some people never have a mom like that.
Right.
They go through 40 years and they never have that kind of relationship or that kind of learning lessons or that bond. I said, so I always look for the positive in something and what I learned from it. And this woman came up to me afterwards with her husband, and she was crying. She was in tears, and she said, can I speak to you? And I said, yeah. And her husband pulled me aside. I'm like, are you okay? Like, did I offend you? And she goes, no. She goes, I have seen maybe 12 therapists. She says, like, I've seen every therapist you can imagine. She says, and I've tried to cope with losing my mom. Same kind of situation as what happened with me. And she goes, I never looked at it that way. She goes, and what you did, she goes, you've changed my life. And she emails me all the time, and her life really has changed. So it meant a lot to me to not just be able to stand in the same forum of a very successful, powerful man and own that as a woman, but to inspire an audience full of people and see that impact. It's just amazing.
I'll definitely buy tickets to the next show.
I love it.
Well, it is Friday. We're recording on a Friday. I know it's happy hour over in Ottawa. So final question.
Yes.
Where can our listeners find you?
They can find me. The easiest way is on social media. My redapplecoaching.ca site's all out there, and we have Game Changer, but just look me up under social media. So look up Marianne Gillespie, Red Apple Coaching. You can find me everywhere on social media. Like, there's no hidden thing. And ping me up, and we'll get you onto some of our private group sites and things like that. And, if you ever need anything, you just reach out to me or my assistant, Morgan, at redapplecoaching.ca. And you know what? We answer everything. So if there's anything that somebody needs, find me. We'll guide you to the right sites, the right programs, the right questions. Or if you just want somebody to talk to because you're totally confused about your business and you just need to know what's next. I did 3 calls this morning with people, just helping them get into the right direction. So we're always there for you, and you're easy to find on social media.
And you're easy to talk to too.
So easy to talk to. Marianne,
Thanks,
you're
Marianne.
awesome.
You got it, ladies. I love it. And send me a copy of this when we're all done, okay?
Absolutely.
Sounds
Promise.
good.
Okay. Thank you.
Have a great Friday.